My Big Sister podcast. I'm Grace and this is my big sister Josie.
Hello, and in today's episode we're going to be talking all about fashion and finding your personal style. So let's get into the episode. Finding a personal style can take a little while, but what do you think was like your earliest fashion memory?
I feel like growing up in the early 2000s, I was the youngest sister of 3 girls. So I was always raiding my sister's closets, watching them like dress up. And I feel like I remember a lot of colour and a lot of fun textures and knits. Like one of my like earliest memories of going shopping for clothes was my mum taking me to Baby Gap. And in Baby Gap, they used to have like these little matching sets of like the Gap tops with the Gap logo and like matching little shorts and stuff. And I remember getting one of those brown flowery Gap matching set. I must have been like actually a baby because we were shopping in Baby Gap. I must have been like 2 years old. And I remember like feeling so cool, and I had a little bandana, and I remember feeling really cool in my Baby Gap clothes.
Yeah, and I feel like when you're younger, you always have like that one thing that is like your thing that you just love.
You feel really cool.
Yeah, and I had that with this like red duffel coat that had wooden toggles, and I used to have these little mittens that would go through that had a piece of string so that the mittens wouldn't get lost, and I thought it was like the coolest thing ever. But yeah, I feel like those sort of early childhood things, I don't know if they really, like, when you grow up, I think you suddenly realize that that's probably not what you want to be wearing.
Yeah, I feel like at least when we were growing up, like obviously our mum would dress us, so most of our like style growing up was more like what she wanted us to wear. So I feel like when you get into your teen years, I feel like that's when I started actually like dressing for myself and like picking my own outfits. Was probably when I went into secondary school.
Did you ever feel like you copied me? I copied things that I would wear.
I don't know about clothes. I definitely would copy other things you do all the time, but I think because when I was growing up, I was so young, and by the time I was kind of old enough to be picking out my own clothes, you were at university. So by the time I was like looking for someone to inspire me for clothes, you weren't in the house, so I wasn't like copying your style. I would say if anyone, maybe our middle sister Daisy, she obviously lived with me for a longer period of time because she's a bit younger than you. So I feel like sometimes she would get these outfits. Like I remember she had like leather jeggings, and like I don't know, she had like certain outfits that were very like Tumblr vibes, because this was back in like 2012 2013 when I was in like year 7 at school, and it was very like Tumblr. Like I remember she had all these posters on her wall of like acne denim shorts, and I remember looking at it being like, what does acne, like I thought acne was like a bad thing for your skin, like why are they called acne like shorts? And I was really confused. I remember Daisy like teaching me about like Tumblr and like showing me all these pictures of like girls in California with like their little short shorts on, and they were like acne shorts, so that was like the cool thing at the time. So I feel like I used to definitely be inspired by our other sister style, no offense. But I feel like you were, by the time I was old enough to be picking my own stuff, you were at university already.
So I thought what would be a good thing to do for this episode is to talk about our 3 style words. So
I had no idea what this was until Josie told me about it.
I actually watch a lot of like sustainability and like style YouTubers and stuff. So there's this one stylist who has this, she's on a podcast I listen to. She's called Alison Bornstein, I think that's how you say her name, and she has the 3-word method, which is basically just 3 words that you can use to define your style. And it kind of helps, like once you've picked out your 3 words, you can kind of use it to when you go shopping or when you're putting outfits together, to just remember those 3 words, and it can kind of help you stick to a theme or not feel so overwhelmed, because you're like, okay, well I know my 3 words, so I know what I need to kind of look for, and it can just sort of help. So the 3 words are, the first one is supposed to be a practical word, which is like kind of what you wear on your everyday, the things that you gravitate towards every single day. The second one is your aspirational word, which is what is your kind of dream vision of what you want to wear.
Like what you're pinning on Pinterest.
Yeah, like what are you trying to get to, even if you might not be doing that every day? What is like the goal? The third one is the emotional word, which is how do you want to feel in what you're wearing. So we haven't
I don't know what
asked each
Josie's
other
are.
our words. So
I had a think, and I mean, I'm new to this concept, so I don't know if my ideas are completely wrong.
I feel like I've been thinking about this for quite a long time,
Okay.
like many years. I've been changing my 3 words.
Okay, so your first word is the practical word, right? So what is your practical?
So my practical word is relaxed.
That's nice.
Yeah. So I like to be comfy, especially lately since I've had my appendix surgery. I've been wearing a lot of leggings. I've just been wearing a lot of trainers and like comfy hoodies and stuff, and I think that's actually okay. Like, I don't think we should feel bad for having like wearing relaxed casual things. Like, you can make it part of your style, and if you style it in certain ways, you can kind of make it look nice, even if it is super casual and relaxed. So yeah, laid back is my first one.
My practical word that I decided was basics.
Nice.
Because I feel like every day I just immediately grab a pair of blue jeans and a white t-shirt and then throw a coat on at the moment because it's winter. Like, I tend to just I have so many pairs of jeans because I just rotate. Like, I rotate the same kind of outfit formula, which is a top, jeans.
You're like the jean oracle. Like, you have jeans for every single occasion you could possibly need.
Yeah, so wherever I'm going, like, I wear the same formula, which is a jean, a top, and a coat. And it just depends what sort of jean, top, or coat I'm wearing to what occasion. So I have, like, leather jeans, I have, like, more baggy jeans, I have more, like, tight jeans. I just have every option, so that I would say it's basics in terms of, like, basic ideas and, like, the things that I'm wearing are, like, basic items, but I have lots of options, so I can style them, like, loads of different ways.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way. Like, that just makes it simple because you're like, I know what I have as my basics.
I'm like a book character. I'm like Greg Heffley, where he always wears...
Who's that?
You don't know who Greg Heffley is? From Diary of a Wimpy Kid?
No.
Oh my god, that's showing your age.
Sorry.
Okay, well, Greg Heffley wears the exact... Or, like, Arthur.
Okay.
He wears the same t-shirt and jeans every day.
Yeah,
I feel like a movie character. And Greg Heffley in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, there's a scene where he goes in his wardrobe and it's like 10 pairs of the same jeans and 10 pairs of the same shirt, because in the book he's always wearing the same outfit, like in the drawings of the book. So that is me basically, but just slightly different alterations.
Yeah, but it obviously works. You got lots of people following you for your style advice.
Yes,
so.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
Okay, so your second word of the 3, which is the like what you're aiming for, what did you say your word was?
So that's my aspirational word. So I was kind of struggling to decide between polished and classic. So that's kind of the area I want to go down. And the second word can be kind of an opposite to the first word, which my first word was relaxed. So I feel like the polished side of things is like maybe putting on a blazer over the top of like a hoodie or something, or wearing maybe some like slightly smart, like a smarter, more like put together t-shirt that's a bit more like this one is like a bit more of a polished t-shirt than like a very like baggy t-shirt. So that's kind of like just having that tension, and that lets you wear the slightly more relaxed things, because then you can bring in something a bit more polished, like maybe a structured coat or something like that, or like some smart shoes to balance out a more relaxed like jean, like, or something.
Finish off an outfit with something a bit more polished.
Yeah, but then you kind of need that other side of it, so that it's not just like a full-on outfit of like looking like you're going to like the White House or something. So what is your aspirational word?
So I also was deciding between 2, because I'm new to this concept, so I wasn't entirely sure what
and it's
I was
fine to always change your words as well. You don't have to stick to the same.
So my aspirational style, my 2 words were 90s and timeless.
Nice.
Because 90s, mainly because I watched Friends on repeat my whole life, and every single outfit on that show, even the men and the women, I would wear any of that today.
Yeah.
And because of that, I would say the 90s style is timeless, which is the second word. I couldn't choose between the 2. So I would say, I just want to have a style where I feel like every year I can get out the same coat and it's not like a trendy thing. I want it to be, I'm buying these pieces that every year, it's not like a weird trend from 2020. I want it to be like an item that I think, and I want to look back at pictures of myself and not go, ugh, why did I wear that? I want to look back and go, yeah, that outfit's great. And I think that's something I've really learned, because especially when I first started doing social media in 2020, there was a lot of like micro trends. I think a lot of this was because of lockdown, because we weren't able to go out and do stuff.
Everyone had loads of money to spend on
Everyone
weird
had
clothes
money,
from Shein.
and also there was no kind of other creative outlets. There was no like, you couldn't go out and do stuff. So I feel like the way to express your creativity, at least I felt like for Gen Z, like in lockdown, was the way you dress. So everyone was wearing like happy colors, like bright colors, patterns, because we were all stuck in our houses, so we had to get like dopamine from somewhere. So I feel like there were so many micro trends, and the fact that everyone was on the internet constantly.
Like, do you remember the cow print?
Yeah, because there was nothing else to do. Every day there was a new trend, because everyone was just sat at home waiting for something to happen, because nothing else was happening in the real world.
That green House of Sunny dress.
Yeah, there was so many like micro trends.
And now it just like as soon as you see a photo of someone wearing something from that time, you know
it's from 2020.
You know pretty much down to the month what that's from, which is the complete opposite of timeless.
Yeah. So, and during that time, like that's when I first started becoming like a fashion content creator, and I was reached out to by a lot of brands who were offering to send me gifted clothes. So of course, I was 17 at this time. I didn't have much money. As you guys know, I was like, didn't have much money to pay for my train fare to uni, and I was like in a gap year. And I was going to say yes. So I was getting sent all these clothes that weren't necessarily my personal style, but they were what was trendy at the time. So I was getting sent these clothes for free. And of course, I'm getting sent the clothes. I'm going to wear them. I didn't have loads of clothes. I didn't have loads of money to buy my own clothes that I would pick. So if someone sent me a green fluffy dress, I was gonna wear it because I've never had a long dress before. It's my first ever dress. So I was posting a lot on social media of these trends, and now looking back, I do feel like regret, because I was feeding into that trend cycle myself. But you can understand why me at 17 years old, I've never had like a big amount of money to spend on clothes, and suddenly these brands are sending me all this stuff to wear, and it's trendy at the time, and everyone thinks it's really cool, and everyone's like, oh, this is the new style, like this is what's going to be cool for years. So I'm like wearing all this stuff, and then now looking back, I'm like, oh my god,
I think everyone just went a bit delulu at that time. Like everyone just went
that
insane.
Summer of 2020, like some people there was some like laws lifted, so we were a bit happy, like we could go in the field and like frolic about in these little dresses, and I would go to the local field and take pictures in my outfits. And yeah, I feel like it was a very interesting time. So after that has happened to me, and I now look back and I'm like, oh my god, the outfits. Now I feel like I'm trying to build a more timeless style, but also I find it hard because I do think social media is going towards this clean girl aesthetic, Matilda Jerf, like that style, although she has been in some controversy in the past few months. But that kind of style, that like Stockholm style of basics and more 90s, I'm like, is that a trend?
Yeah, I was just going to say, do you think
in my head, I'm like, yeah, I'm timeless now, but is that just me following another trend?
Like, I've been thinking about blazers a lot lately, because for a long time I was like, yes, blazers are my style. I love them. They're so timeless and classic. But the blazers that were in style, like these massive oversized ones,
the big shoulder pads.
Speaking of Matilda Jeff, she wears them quite a lot.
Yeah.
And I actually was thinking the other day, I bet we're going to look back at this time in a few years and be like, why were we wearing such big blazers? And that's just going to, even though we currently think that is timeless, I still think even that is not timeless, really. Even though like a blazer in general, I guess, will always be in style, but the specific like way that you wear those things will always shift over time.
Yeah, I feel like even now when I think of like a few years ago, like wearing a big blazer with like a tiny mini dress with like heels, like I don't think I would style one like that now. But I think for my aspirational word of timeless, by timeless I mean actually timeless, like outfits. So that's why I love the 90s. I love looking at Friends, because I'm like, okay, well, this isn't a trend from today. If it was worn in Friends, like this has been relevant for all these years. Like
that's the thing. I think looking back into the past, and if you can see an outfit that you still think looks good today, and it's not because the 90s are trending, but like it actually is something that has just looked good the whole time.
Yeah, like I want an outfit that the past 50 years, if you time traveled me into that period, no one would look at me that weird.
Yeah.
Like it's just jeans and a white top. Like no one would be that shocked at my outfit. So I feel like
Jane Birkin is another really good one who I've lately been just, if you go on Pinterest and just type Jane Birkin style, and I just was so, I mean, I think most girls of my age suddenly are like, have their Jane Birkin phase.
But that's a trend, because I see everyone on TikTok Jane Birkifying their bags.
Oh, well, that's...
Where they put like ribbon on their Birkin.
Well, I'm not talking about that. I'm more talking about like just the way that she wears like t-shirts and jeans and like just very, very simple but very polished. And yeah, like that is like the goal, but definitely not the
Birkinifying the bag. Well, I saw people Jane Birkifying their steering wheels, and then their airbag wouldn't open.
And I love how it's like overconsumption core. Like they're not just... The whole idea of Jane Birkin's bag is that it's like little
worn
things
over
that
time,
you've collected over time. But these people were like, I'm going to buy my Jane Birkin bag accessories, and they just order loads of things on like Temu. That is not what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and don't put little charms on your airbag, because they will go in your face when your car crashes.
Someone put charms on their airbag?
Yeah, they Jane Birkified their steering wheel.
Oh, yeah. Good
so
point.
if they ever got in an accident, all these little things are going to flung in their face.
Oh my God. Okay, let's get on to the third word, which is the emotional word, which is how you want to feel. I found this one the most difficult, because I feel like relaxed is kind of how I want to feel, but I used that up for my first word. So I actually thought of eclectic, which is kind of like, but what I mean by that is I want to feel like my clothes have a story, and I want to feel like my clothes come from like, I love buying things on Vinted. I love getting things on like Vestia Collective, like secondhand, something that's just like this, like I've got this suede jacket, not that I can wear it because it rains all the time, but it's like this 70s suede jacket that I just found randomly on Vinted, like, and that has a story, and I just love that so much more than if I just like bought a suede jacket from Zara because it's trending or whatever. And also I love going to vintage stores. I've always loved going to vintage stores like in London and
Beyond Retro and Brighton.
Yeah, I used to love going to Beyond Retro. And I just love clothes that feel like they have a story, and clothes that you have kept for a long time.
Yeah.
Things that have like grown up with you.
There's so many regrets I have of stuff that I gave away.
Yeah.
Like I used to have Blair Waldorf's birthday dress from episode 1 of Gossip Girl.
Oh my God.
And I gave it away.
Why did you give that away?
Because it wasn't the 2020 style at the time.
Who did you give it away to? Can you get it back?
Charity shop.
Oh. Can't
that
get
was
that
a
back.
designer dress.
Oh my God. Why did you give that away?
I know. And there's so many like pairs of jeans which I think it's a fair thing. I give away jeans if they don't fit me anymore. But then... Our bodies do always change.
Yeah.
And like even like I was thinking like if I have kids in the future, I should have kept like a pair of Levi's. I used to have this pair of Levi's I wore all the time in 2020. I grew out of them, but then I gave them away to someone, and I'm like, oh, I should have kept those because I know the quality is good enough that they would last to when I have a kid.
Yeah.
And there's stuff like that, but
it's a fine line.
Yeah, it's a fine line between hoarding.
Yeah.
And like becoming Kim Kardashian with her storage locker of clothes. Have you seen her like archives?
No.
She has every single item she's ever worn in like these massive storage lockers. She has like every dress from every episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Whoa. I can't do that. Like that's not normal, and I can't afford to get a storage locker for my clothes for my children. So there's a fine line. But yeah, there are so many things I've given away that looking back now, I'm like, oh, that was a timeless pair of blue jeans. I should have kept those.
But I think as you start to realize what your personal style is a bit more, I think that's when you can start to realize like, actually that is something that I would like to keep. Like I think now you'd be like, okay, if it's a pair of Levi's, I should probably keep that. If it's a dress from like Shein from 2020, you probably don't want to keep that.
No. I think, just thinking about quality in terms of keeping stuff, like, if it's a good quality item that I know is going to wash well.
Yeah.
But if it's like something from a cheap fast fashion brand, it's not going to survive to when I have kids, so there's no point keeping it.
Yeah. So what's your third word?
I said I want my clothes to make me feel comfy.
That's good.
Because even though I try and dress in like 90s kind of timeless style, I am always also dressing for comfort, especially in my like day-to-day life when I'm just in the house, like working from home. I'm always wearing a tracksuit, and I would say most of my tracksuits are kind of like a 90s kind of fit, like they're quite baggy, they've got like logos on, like very kind of 90s kind of sportswear
Princess
type.
Diana,
Yeah.
dropping the kids off at
Yeah,
school
that
vibes.
sort of outfit. But yeah, one thing about me is I want to be comfy. First of all, I have back issues, which mean certain clothes make my back hurt. Certain clothes, like certain jeans, I sit funny. Like I just want to be comfy at all times. And like if I have a dress that's too short, I don't want that. I want my dress to be a comfortable length, because if I'm walking around, same with like shoes and heels, I will only buy shoes that are comfy nowadays.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'll try and get ones that look nice too, but I always go for comfort above anything else, really.
Yeah, I think that's why I put relaxed as my first word, because yeah, same thing. Like I've realized now that if I buy something and it is not completely comfortable, I will just not choose it, and will not reach for it. Like I have this really nice corset that I bought for the Eras tour, and I was like, I'll rewear that. It's like a white corset, it'll just go with everything. I've not worn it since, because it is not comfortable, because it's a corset and it's just like a bit too tight, and like, you know, I just don't want to feel like that, especially because a lot of the time now when I'm going out to restaurants. I don't want to be like constricted in my stomach. Like, I want to be able to eat. I want to be able to be relaxed and like not feel all like tense in my body.
Yeah, that's another thing about like when I was younger, when we'd go, I think when I would meet my friends when I was younger, we would go on like nights out, and like maybe we wouldn't go to dinner, but I'd wear these tiny corsets, and like you'd get so full from all the alcohol. My stomach would be like, it would be like cutting into my skin, like these tight clothes. Whereas now if I go out and see my friends and I know we're going for dinner, I'm going to be wearing baggy, like slightly bigger trousers just to be more comfy, because I know my stomach's going to expand.
And I think it actually affects how the look looks. If you're feeling uncomfortable in your clothes, that just comes across in like your confidence and the way you hold yourself. Whereas if you just feel fully relaxed and comfortable, then the clothes will just look better anyway.
Yeah, I think the main thing about style and fashion in general for me is that confidence is really more important to how you come across to people than actually the actual clothes you're wearing. Like if you are wearing a beautiful expensive dress but you feel insecure in it, you're gonna come across not as confident, and it's not, people aren't gonna be wowed by your dress. Whereas if you're just wearing jeans and a top but you come across super confident, super happy, super chatty, people will be like, wow, she looks great, and she like feels great in that, and it comes across.
I feel like this thing of British girls always talking about French girls is like a bit of a thing, but it is true. Like one of my best friends, Rosie, shout out if you're listening, she is British but she lives in Paris, and every time I see Rosie, she's always just got a simple pair of jeans on, or like just something very simple, and a t-shirt or a jumper, but it just looks so good all the time, because it's just really like put together and just like simple but nice quality and just like great. So I feel like that's Rosie, you're my star icon if you're listening.
Yeah, I feel like trying to find your personal style rather than just following trends, because for me, like if I think of my friends, I think of their personal style. Whereas if they were all following the same TikTok trends, say they all came to dinner in the same outfit, I'd be like, well, that's not right. Like so-and-so wears this sort of thing, and so-and-so wears this. Like I know what sort of things my friends would wear, and that's because they don't tend to follow trends. And I feel like it's definitely a thing with TikTok and like the culture of influencers, where you do feel like you need to be following trends, because the reason most of my friends have their own personal styles is they might not necessarily have so much extra money every month to be buying the latest trends, so they end up wearing the stuff that they always wear, which is their style. So I feel like it's kind of like, if you were an influencer or you're very like heavily chronically online, you might feel like everyone's always wearing these trendy new items and everyone's buying new hauls of stuff every month, whereas in reality the everyday ordinary person just has their set wardrobe, and basically every ordinary person has a capsule wardrobe, and I know people talk about having a capsule wardrobe, which is like a small amount of clothes you rotate between. That's what the average person does, like, and it's not like a thing, because the average person doesn't buy like an ASOS order of like £1,000 every month.
Yeah, and I think one thing that I've realised that has really helped is I've just started paying attention to what I'm actually wearing every single day. And then when I do go and buy something new, I think back to, okay, not what you think you want, not what your fantasy self that doesn't actually exist wants, but what do you actually wear every single day? And buying like maybe a nicer version of that, or
or multiple copies. Like in my day-to-day life, I just wear a tracksuit. I wear joggers and a hoodie. I have these ones from Hera, which I really recommend if you like a good quality tracksuit. They're really nice quality. And I have 2 of the grey one, the exact same, and I have a black one. Since I've got those, that's all I wear. I mean, you've probably seen me. I wore it in the first episode of the podcast. I'm wearing that tracksuit every day. If I'm going somewhere a bit fancier, I will wear it with a trench coat. If I'm just casual, I'll wear it with a puffer coat, or, you know, if it's a bit warmer, I'll just wear it on its own. That's all I wear.
Yeah.
And honestly, my dream in life would just be a whole wardrobe of those, and be like Greg Heffley and just rotate between those clothes.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, because I feel like, I don't know if it's just me, and like, I just like to be comfy, and I like knowing what I'm wearing. I like the like sensoriness of a nice cozy tracksuit. I don't like tracksuits that are cuffed at the bottom. That really annoys me. I like it when the hood's a certain like heaviness and like big enough. And when I find that item that fits me really well, I wear it every day, which is what's happened with me in these Hero tracksuits. So I honestly, when I come to buying myself something, I don't often think, oh, I'll buy myself a tracksuit, because I'm like, well, that's just a comfy, like, that doesn't matter, like, about that. I would probably go to buy myself like a night out top or like something dressy, when really like 80% of my life I'm wearing a tracksuit. So really I should have the wardrobe full of tracksuits. My wardrobe is mainly full of like other stuff that I'm not always wearing. So really I should be investing more in like quality stuff that I'm wearing every day. Like recognize what you're wearing day to day, like around your house, and just buy like good versions of those clothes.
Or just don't buy anything and just keep wearing what you're wearing.
Yeah, well, for me, I spill food on myself, so I need multiple copies of a thing I'm wearing a lot. And also, I take ages to do my washing, so I need like 4 tracksuits to be constantly wearing the tracksuit.
So to summarise, say your 3 words and whether you think it's about right.
So my 3 words were basics, 90s/timeless, and comfy.
Yeah. Do you think that's a good summary of your style?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would definitely say so. Would you say so?
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. And yeah, it can be useful, like when you're getting dressed in the morning, be like, if you're not sure what to wear, be like, okay, what are my 3 words? Yeah, what's timeless?
Comfy?
Yeah.
Find my basics.
I think that can really help. And what were mine? Mine were relaxed, classic, and eclectic. Do you feel like
classic
that's good? Classic / polished, yeah.
I think that would describe your style quite well. I feel like you dress more like mature than me, and more like polished than me. I feel like we do have a similar style.
Like I don't wear tracksuits the same. Like I would wear a hoodie maybe, but I would wear something like maybe with like some like smarter trousers to like balance it out. I don't think I would wear like head to toe tracksuit.
But is that just because you're 10 years older than me?
Well, maybe, but I've never worn that. But maybe that wasn't in style when I was younger. Like, I don't know,
would say
just different, I guess.
In general, like, if all my clothes disappeared tomorrow, I'd be happy to, like, wear your wardrobe. And I wouldn't feel that weird. Nice. Like, I feel like it wouldn't be that different.
Considering that I'm, like, 9 years older than you, I think that's pretty good going.
Yeah. I mean, I would miss the tracksuits, but, like, if I turned up to dinner wearing a full Josie outfit, I don't think my friends would be like, what are you wearing? Like,
okay. Well, I think that plays into the timeless thing a bit then. That's good, because that means that, like, And
I would say the same with you. And, like, I feel like you could shop in my wardrobe and find an outfit.
Well, I do quite often.
Yeah.
I do. I have got quite a lot of jeans from your wardrobe.
From my wardrobe, yeah.
Okay, should we answer some questions from the audience?
Yes. So I asked... Bear with me. I asked the audience some questions about fashion and personal style. If you do want to be involved, make sure you follow us on socials at My Big Sister Podcast. But let's see what you guys wanted to know. Someone said, what is your favourite fashion statement?
Ooh.
And I think that's interesting because we've been saying we have quite kind of basics style and quite like timeless, but I feel like there are things that can make a statement, especially in my wardrobe. I would say for me, because as I've been saying, I love a basic kind of base to my outfit, just blue jeans and a white top. Something that I think, especially in winter, that makes a difference is a fun coat.
Yeah.
So I do have my basic coats which go with everything, but I also have one or two like fun coats. Like I have this Afghan coat from Superdry.
That is a
It's
good
very
one.
like Phoebe from Friends.
Yeah.
So even still with the 90s theme, but it is more out there. So it's like furry and kind of orange.
Yeah.
And whenever I wear that, I always get compliments on my outfit. And everyone's like, I love your outfit. And I'm like, well, I'm just wearing
just the coat.
jeans and a t-shirt and a coat.
Yeah.
But because the coat's fun,
Yeah.
everyone's like, wow, her style is so cool. And I'm like, well, I'm just as comfy as I would normally be. But I'm just wearing a fun coat. So I feel like for me, adding like a coat that is
especially
fun.
in like a cold country, sometimes all you can see of your outfit is your coat. So you
Yeah.
might as well make that fun.
Definitely. Or sometimes I like in winter to add like a fun coloured scarf because a lot of my outfits are just like black and white and grey. So sometimes adding like a blue scarf or a green scarf can make like a bit of a
Jazzy.
statement without being like too much colour for me.
I think for me, I like to do that with tops quite a lot. So I have like, you know, that fruit top that is like really bright yellow that has like lots of different fruit. It's actually Gucci, but it's vintage Gucci and I got it for a very cheap price. But so that is like my little eclectic fun little top. But you can kind of style, the thing with tops is you can put things over the top of them, or like, you know, you don't have to go crazy with the rest of your outfit. And then I also have this like sheer mesh top that is like my gig / going out top, which I basically just always wear on like my birthday or whatever. And that's, just like a little fun way to jazz up an outfit.
Different tops, See, I feel like I always wear the same top, so it's interesting how like you can pick a different item to wear differently. Someone said, what are some basic rules for layering?
Ooh.
I feel like I make a lot of videos like on my little reels about layering. I would say make sure your layers are thin, first of all. So what I do in winter when it's cold is I will put, as I've got today, a long sleeve thin top underneath. Then I will either wear a jumper or a hoodie, and then we have a coat on top. But if you wear like too many layers, or you've got like a hoodie and then a jumper on top to stay warm, it's just like overwhelming, and like
especially
you feel
if
like you
you're going
can't
on the
move
tube or on a train or something.
Yeah, because the minute you get inside somewhere, you're like sweating. Whereas like if you're wearing thinner layers, it's not as bad. And another thing I do in winter is if it's a really cold day in London, I'll put leggings on under my jeans.
Guess what? That's what I've done today.
There
It looks
you
so
go.
bad.
Yeah.
But you know, because I have these like really thin trousers that I bought when I lived in Australia, and when I got here I was like, these are my favorite trousers. They're so comfy and like relaxed, but like look kind of fancy still somehow. And I was like, how am I gonna wear them? Then I just realized I can just wear leggings underneath.
Yeah, I feel like I discovered that hack and I was like, why does no one else, maybe everyone else is doing this and I didn't know, no one told me.
And leggings are so comfy, I find, that I just like to wear them underneath.
Yeah, and the minute you get home you can take off your hard jeans and just have leggings on. And I do this like when I go on nights out in winter, especially, not that I go on that many nights out anymore, but if I go on like a little girls' dinner night in London, wearing leggings under your even like your leather trousers or like your tight kind of jeans.
Oh yeah, it's really good for leather trousers because it stops you getting all sweaty.
And then wearing like a long sleeve top under anything. Another thing I saw on TikTok, which I haven't actually tried myself, but someone said they buy like a thin puffer to wear under jackets that don't have much warmth, and then when they take the jacket off they just quickly like take the puffer off underneath. But if you have like a cropped kind of jacket for winter, like a leather jacket, and it's not actually that warm, you can buy from like Uniqlo like these thin puffers that like fold up into your bag, so that when you get to your destination you can quickly take off the puffer.
That's underneath. A good idea actually, because I have a lot of coats that there's like a very thin window of time that I can actually wear them, because they're too warm for the summer, but then like they're too cold for the winter. So I literally had like a month and I was like, quick, wear all of my autumn jackets. But maybe I need to get a puffer to like help that.
Like layer up. I feel like just finding kind of tight fitting clothes and thin layers that you can wear under stuff is like the best thing about layering.
One other thing that I've been doing a lot recently, which I quite like, is wearing like, I'll wear like a t-shirt like this and then I'll have a V, either cardigan or a jumper, or even like a jumper vest with a V, and just having that little like pop of a t-shirt underneath. Normally I do it with a white t-shirt, but you could do it with like brown or I don't know, other colors. I feel like, I don't know, it's just like a nice way to layer that looks a bit like intentional.
Adding textures, to your outfit.
But it's still like showing the layers underneath. It's not just layering to be warm.
Okay, someone said how to create hairstyles that match different types of outfits.
I'm not the person to ask this because I always just have my hair down. I never do anything with my hair.
See, one thing about me is I cannot wear a hoodie with my hair down.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, I do sometimes, but I feel weird and I feel like sensory overload. I have to have my hair
like in the
up
way.
high. Yeah. I feel like, first of all, because I've got long hair, your hair all gets like stuck in the hood and like bunched up and then it goes all knotty, especially in winter, and then you're like sweating on your neck on the tube and it's all like a mess. And also just I feel like hoodies, just you already have something around your neck, so like you don't need your hair there. Just to have your hair up, I feel like it just looks so much better and it's more like clean girl vibes, like that sort of thing. Like you feel a bit more put together. It's more like intentional.
I just
it's
feel
not
like
just
I
like
look like
you've
an
thrown a
egg
hoodie
when I
on.
have my hair up. Like,
I've never really
know.
seen you with your hair up.
Like I don't know, like I just look like an egg. I
need to do you a slip back pony one day
yeah,
and see.
but I've tried and I
Maybe
just
the
don't think
next
it suits
episode,
me.
the next episode of the pod, I'm gonna dress Josie up as me.
No, but that's why I got the front like little side bangs, because then at least if I have my hair up I can have the bangs down, and I feel like maybe I just have a big forehead. I don't know.
I have quite a big forehead though, and I don't mind having my hair up.
I don't know, maybe we need to experiment with different
I think
hairstyles.
something about my hair is I have like a double crown at the back of my head.
Oh yeah, I have that as well.
Yeah, I think it's genetic. So actually, sometimes in pictures, I don't like how my hair looks just down, because it looks, sometimes my
bump.
parting looks weird. Yeah, or like if someone takes a picture above me, I'm like, oh my God, my parting is like all over the place. So sometimes I like having my hair up because it feels more like controlled. Like I can slick it back to look all smooth and nice, and it's not as like mismatched.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes if my hair's down, it can be a bit like all over the place because of my like parting.
But I will say one thing to do with hair is I keep seeing these videos about hair theory and like all this stuff on TikTok, and I feel like maybe we're just slightly overthinking it, and maybe it's just fine to do
Have
whatever
you seen that,
you want.
that screenshot of someone that asked someone on Instagram, like, how do you feel confident? And she was like, I think you're you're thinking too much.
Yeah, basically just
like, just stop thinking about these things.
It's probably fine, like whatever way you want to do it, like not to like dismiss that question, because I think it is an interesting thing to think about.
I think there's truth to it. Like I feel different when I have curly hair than when I have straight hair.
Yeah.
But also, like, I'm not trying to stress too much.
But you're not thinking, oh, this outfit will only work with curly hair. I can't have my hair straight if I wear this t-shirt. Like,
no, except when I'm wearing a hoodie, then I need to have my hair up.
But yeah, I don't think there's like strict rules, and like you can't really do anything wrong. It's just what you think, what feels good for you, what feels comfortable for you, and yeah.
Okay, next question someone asked was, what are the differences between British and American fashion? I feel like you could also mention Australian, because you've lived in Sydney for quite a few years.
I think the way that people view the style of other countries is quite interesting. I feel like Australians probably think British people dress like more cool, like rock and roll, like jeans, like more, like definitely when I lived there, people said to me like, oh, you dress quite differently to how most people here dress. And I took it as a compliment, but I think, in Australia, a lot of people are very like boho, flowy, like, because it's so hot.
The weather,
Yeah, and like, whereas I'd be wearing more like jeans and like more
leather
like
jackets,
structured trousers and things like that. So I think people have, different, and again, like British people have a very clear view of what Australians wear. And I think it kind of is true, but when it comes to Americans, I don't want to be rude, but I feel like people think that Americans just wear like leggings and North Face jackets all the time.
I think Americans, in my head, I mean, I haven't been to many places,
but there's
in
so many
America.
different places, so it's kind of hard to like generalize.
But in my head, the way that I view American style is very like Lululemon. We're going out wearing leggings. Yeah.
Maybe that's more like California, but then when I think of like New York style,
that's very different.
Actually, I love New York style.
New York
it's
style,
really
I think
cool.
of Friends, like 90s, like long coats. I guess it really does depend on the weather. I think that's like one of the main factors of what country or what area's fashion is like. Because obviously LA lifestyle is very warm, it's sunny, so you're going to be wearing like athletic clothes.
Yeah, I feel like LA and Sydney are very similar in that way.
Yes, I feel like LA and Sydney are a similar kind of style in my head at least. Whereas New York and London, I would say, are a similar style.
Yeah, and that makes sense because they're similar weather.
Yeah, and they're quite close to each other.
Yeah.
And even similar to Paris, I feel like Paris in France is a bit more sophisticated than London. It's a bit more like timeless, a bit more, I don't know, how would you describe Parisian style?
Very like classic. Just like they wear classic things really well.
Yeah. And then when I watch like Mamma Mia, or when I go to Greece in the summer, I'm like, oh my god, I want to dress like all the people in Greece. Like they're just wearing swimming costumes all the time with like little shorts or like little flowy white dresses. And yeah, I feel like wherever I go, I decide I want to dress like that place, and then I get back home and I'm like, oh no, I love the London style. Like,
but that's because it's too cold. You can't be wearing swimming costumes.
Yeah, when I go
London.
to Greece on holiday, I try and dress like a Greek person, but then when I come back to rainy London, you've got to wrap up warm.
Yeah. So I think my favorite city style is probably like Copenhagen.
Have you ever been there?
Yeah, I have once, and yes, all their clothes were amazing.
Really cool.
Yeah, I was like,
see, I've never
wow.
been there, but I know I do follow a lot of content creators from Stockholm or like Copenhagen, and they dress so cool.
Yeah, and a lot of brands from there that are some of my favorite brands. I just like love the style. So
yeah, it's very like timeless and vague.
that either.
Someone said, I feel like I'm always buying nice fashion pieces, but can never make it look put together. Any tips?
I think this goes back to what we were saying about thinking about what you actually wear on a day-to-day basis and what you feel comfortable in. And so when you buy these pieces, it sounds like maybe those things are maybe missing, and maybe you might, I mean, I don't know you, but you might potentially be buying for your fantasy self, not for your real self who actually wears the clothes.
Or you might be just buying like a top you love, but actually if you think of your wardrobe, you don't have anything to match that top, so you don't end up wearing it.
Yeah.
So I feel like you should always buy stuff, like if you're buying one item, think, okay, what do I have in my wardrobe that I can wear this with?
Yeah.
And will this match a lot of things in my wardrobe? If it doesn't, then I'm going to have to buy all these other items to match it. Then it's maybe not the best decision for your wardrobe.
Another good tip, and something I was a bit obsessed with a few years ago, is this app called Wearing, which is like, if you've ever seen Clueless, where she has like the computer
wardrobe,
that
like,
has the wardrobe where you can pick your clothes and like flick through the different clothes. It's literally that. So you take a picture or upload photos from like online, like, or wherever, just basically get images of all of your clothes, and then it will put them into the app, and then you can literally flick through. It will use AI to give you some outfit ideas, or you can like plan different outfits. So I would use it quite a lot if I was going on holiday. I would like put all my different outfits and use it for like packing and things like that. So that could be useful if you're basically one of those people who has too many things and you don't know what's in your wardrobe. You can just have everything digitized, and then you can flick through from, you don't even have to get into your wardrobe, just do it from bed if you're just like trying to think what you actually want to wear.
I have something a bit like that on just my phone. I have a folder on my Photos app called like night out outfits, because that's something I struggle. I can dress every day. I have a lot of basics in my wardrobe for like every day, but when it comes to like a night out with the girls, like
you kind of forget, if you haven't gone on a night out for a while, you're like, what do I actually have?
Yeah, what do you wear on this occasion? So I have actually pictures like of me on nights out, and I have all the different outfits in this folder, so I can look back and go, okay, what did I wear last time? Like,
that's a good idea.
That's kind of combos that work well together that I can wear on a night out.
The other thing that I do sometimes is like do like wardrobe playtime, where you just like, it sounds a bit weird, but basically
like playing dress up.
Yeah, like if you're bored, just don't actually like scroll and look for things to buy. Just go into your wardrobe and just, even if you're not going anywhere, just have a little play around, like come up with some outfits, and then take a photo of yourself wearing anything that you think is good. And then when you actually come to actually going out, you'll have like some ideas of things that you've looked at. And that is a really good antidote for if you have like a shopping addiction. Because at some points in my life, I have bought way too many clothes because I was living for my fantasy self, and I wasn't actually realizing that I had so many different options in my wardrobe. But so now if I feel myself like feeling tempted to like buy loads of clothes, I actually just
go
stop,
shopping in your own
wardrobe. I put my phone down and I go shopping in my own wardrobe, and I usually find something that I didn't even realize goes together, or like come up with a new idea, or like Yeah, and it's so much more fun, and you don't actually spend any money, so
Yeah.
it's great.
I think for me, that's one of the reasons why I started posting outfit videos on TikTok, because a lot of the time I'm filming, I'm not actually going somewhere. So I've got all these outfit ideas now. And yeah, sometimes when I can't think of what to wear, I scroll through my own Instagram and like come up. I will search on TikTok, Grace Tutty party outfits, and the algorithm will show me all the videos I've made in party outfits. Yeah, it's like my own little personalized like wardrobe plan.
That is so
of all
useful.
my outfits. Yeah, or I type in like Christmas, like, and I find like all the videos from the previous years I've done on Christmas outfits. So yeah, I recommend either taking pictures and putting them in a little folder, or even just start posting on socials if you want to your own outfits, because like it's good to have like a bank of like ideas. Someone asked, how do you style turtlenecks? That's my biggest issue. Now, I don't own any turtlenecks because I feel like I need the answer to this question. So please, can you let me know?
Sorry.
I need some big sister advice from my big sister.
Okay.
How do I wear turtlenecks?
Turtlenecks, I feel like it depends what kind of turtleneck, because you could have a very like thin turtleneck that is like quite tight to your body, or you could have like a big chunky knit with a turtleneck. But I think in general, I mean, I guess it depends what the problem is. Like if you're just feeling a bit constricted and like you can't breathe, maybe it's just the wrong turtleneck, or maybe turtlenecks are just not for you. I don't know.
One thing that puts me off is I always love wearing jewelry. And I always have a necklace on, so like where's the necklace go? Do I not wear the necklace?
Well, so I actually do have, my purple turtleneck. I wear that all the time, and if I do sometimes I will put the necklace out in the front, but it just depends on the size of the turtleneck, and sometimes it doesn't really work. But you just might just have to give up on the necklace if you're wearing a turtleneck.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is to just balance out like sandwich dressing. So if you've got a big chunky turtleneck, you might want to wear like a slimmer trouser, or maybe like a slimmer skirt, or like tights and a skirt. Or if your turtleneck is quite like thin, then you want to wear something baggier on the bottom. I don't know, just like balancing out. But I don't know, sometimes it might just not be for you. Like if you feel uncomfortable and you're like really struggling to make it work, you might just have to be like, this isn't for me.
Yeah, I think the long hair as well with the turtleneck is what puts me off. And I'm affected by like, if I'm having sensory overload, I would just want to take the outfit off. So maybe, I mean, I guess I could wear a ponytail with a turtleneck.
Yeah.
That could solve my hair problems. I might have to buy one, or I might borrow one of yours.
But yeah, so I'm not really sure what trouble in particular this person is having with their turtleneck, but maybe that helps.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely helped me.
Okay.
You've inspired me.
Oh, great.
I feel like I'm going to buy a turtleneck now. Someone asked, this is more of a question for me, that they want some videos about scoliosis fashion. I do actually have a few videos on my page. If you're out there and looking for them, just type in like on TikTok, Grace Tutty scoliosis fashion, because I have made a few videos in the past, so I feel like that might help you. And it's definitely something we could talk about in the future, or maybe on my own YouTube channel if you want to go subscribe. But that's a good idea for something for me to make in the future, because I feel like it can be very hard, especially I feel like a lot of stuff with fashion is like symmetry. So if you have like a body part that isn't like completely symmetrical, it can sometimes make you feel like your outfit doesn't look quite right, or like make you feel like you're not being able to wear these certain items you want to wear. So I feel like learning how to dress for that can be good, but also just learning to accept how you're going to look in it, because I feel like I've just had to accept that whatever I wear, like my back's going to be in it, and like I can't do anything to change that. So like just learning to wear clothes that you feel confident in, despite any kind of insecurities you might have about how your body looks in them. Okay, that is all of the questions we have time for. I feel like this was really interesting, and you've inspired me to go like in my wardrobe and pick out stuff and try stuff on. Yeah,
and definitely check out Alison Bornstein if you're interested in the 3-word method thing. There's loads of videos about it online.
I'm gonna go have a little stalk now, and now I'm gonna think every time I pick clothes, I'm gonna go, is it timeless? Is it comfy? Is it a basic? I think it's going to help me.
Yeah, and it's just fun to just have a play around in your wardrobe. I'm going to do that when I leave here.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure you give the podcast a follow. We're at My Big Sister Podcast, everywhere you can find us. And if you want to hear more from us in our personal lives, we also both post content on our own socials. All my @s are at Grace Tutty.
And I'm Josie V Tutty on Instagram, and Josie Tutty everywhere else, I think.
Yep.
I'm never
I'm
quite
sure you'll find her.
I should figure it out by now, but I haven't.
But yeah, I hope you're all having a really good week, and we will see you in next week's episode.
Bye.
Bye, guys.